taking care of me. Corona, you're gonna make it better. Corona's gonna make it better. That went everywhere. Corona's gonna make it better.
Yeah, I don't know if we're on or not. I think we're on. They caught most of that, by the way. I know you're kind of wondering. Or maybe they did. Maybe we haven't even started yet. It's hard to say. Facebook starts kind of when it wants to. Welcome.
I'm wet.
I can't even talk. Welcome into Sports Around the Bar, your favorite sports talk show, I'm sure. As always, I'm Jakey Bartender, and I'm joined on center stool by my co-host, Drew. Longtime infamous patient zero of the coronavirus. Thanks for coming to work today.
Just working on keeping it real over here.
Yeah, working on passing that around. But welcome in, guys. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk the new CBA. We're going to talk about the coronavirus and what it's going to do to sports. We're going to talk about first-round quarterbacks. We're going to talk about the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Full slate of things to talk about, man.
Yeah.
I've never had more to talk about during the NFL offseason than I do right now.
Soon. Next show will be full of stuff.
Yeah. So if you pick one to skip, this is a good one.
No, don't skip. This is the best one to stay.
Welcome in, guys. It's going to be a blast. Drew, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. Do you want to talk about the new CBA? You want to talk about?
I like to talk about how I still don't have it on my feed. That's what I would like to talk about.
I don't know what's going on either.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, we can.
Perhaps we're live as we speak.
Yeah.
It says we're live.
That's good. Periscope says we're live.
Yeah, well, maybe we should just move over to Periscope. Maybe things will be a lot easier if we're on Periscope. Anyway.
But how did you do that?
I'm just that good. Why don't we start with the new CBA? Because this, to me, is the biggest story in the NFL right now. I know we can talk Tom Brady. We've kind of talked that to death. We could, if you have questions and want to talk about Tom Brady, feel free. Today's your day. But I just want to let you know, I'm more tired about hearing about that than I am about the coronavirus, which is why we're talking about the coronavirus and not about Tom Brady. You still tech support? You good?
Yeah, it's good now. I think we're good now.
Okay. Well, new CBA. First things first.
Yes.
Who wins?
The owners.
Not even close. This is all ownership.
Yeah. I mean, you want to get technical? You're talking about for the people that aren't making millions and millions of dollars, which is like 60% of the NFL players, they get an extra $100,000 a year on their contract. Yeah, it's going to win because all those people are going to vote yes for it. And the people like your Aaron Rodgers, your Taylor Lewans who vote no because they're making millions and millions of dollars and $100,000 is laughable to them.
Right.
They're like, no.
Walking around money, right? Just $100,000 we're going to play an extra game for walking around money.
Exactly.
I think this is a masterstroke by the owners. This was class warfare at its finest.
Absolutely.
They're like, we're playing the top paid guys against the lower paid guys, and we'll let them be the bad guys, even though we're not trying to raise it. Look, from a negotiating standpoint, it doesn't get any better than this. The NFL knows exactly what
I also love the tactic of, well, if this doesn't pass, we're going to do 18 games.
Yeah. That's another point I had. They're like, we hope it doesn't pass because we'd love to put an extra game in there. We don't think there's going to be any resistance to this. So, of course, they're pushing the players like, say yes to this thing. We want Game 17. My next question is, does Game 17 actually matter? Because, I mean, how many, maybe for one matchup, do you think we're just adding another game towards the end of the season where teams are already going to have clinched their spot, essentially, and we're just coasting?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just the way it was this year. Instead, it's going to be week 18 instead of week 17.
Right.
I mean, that's all it is. I mean, it pushes it back. I still think divisions are going to be tight. I still think the NFC East is going to still be a disaster at the end of the season.
So that one might be close, but the Patriots will have been in 4 months ago.
Yeah. Chiefs will still be dominating the West.
The AFC South, the Titans will be out of it, but we're like hanging on for a wild card. That's just usually the way it goes.
Oh, hey, I just got the notification we're live.
Oh, yeah. It's only been like 12 minutes, but that's okay.
It's okay.
I'll say this. I think...
Hey, look, I'm watching.
Yes. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I think at the very least, 17 games, while I like to see more football, I think we are going to run into that. I think we're going to get to the end of the season, and a lot of these playoff battles are going to be decided by weeks 15 and 16. The longer you stretch this out, the bigger the gaps we're going to see between these teams. That's kind of what I like about the NFL, is because the season is so short, everybody is just neck and neck. And does adding one game change that? No, but we might go into week 17 and have one matchup to watch that actually matters, or maybe two, and then everyone else is going to be talking about...
But that happens sometimes anyways in week 17.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be some teams like, do I just rest my guys twice, or are we just going to take the risk and play them?
No one's going to rest their guys twice.
Probably not.
The only thing that I want is an asterisk next to the records that are going to be broken.
That's the other thing. Yeah, you're going to have all those records out the window.
I know everyone's going to bring up the 70s or the 80s whenever I was not alive that it happened. And it got changed then. But, like, this has been a solid, 4 decades of it being 16 games. Now you throw that extra game in there, it rewrites the record books. And I'm sorry, there's just too many great players during this era that there needs to be an asterisk.
Should we do, like, compound stats, like, per game? It's not who got the most receiving yards. It's who got the most receiving yards per game played.
I mean, yeah, we might have to.
I think we're going to have to start moving towards that, especially, look, if they get this one at 17, 10 years from now, I think the NFL is going to be talking about, let's go get game 18, because 17 just doesn't seem to sit very well, does it? I know they're adding 2 weeks to the schedule because they're going to throw an extra bye to everybody, supposedly. I don't know that they're going to say, well, 17 games is fine, we just won't add it because we don't want to make any more money. Of course they're going to come back. Of course they're going to say, we want to make more money, we want to add more games. I think 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about, will the players vote in an 18-game schedule or a 20-game schedule? And what's the price it takes to get to that?
As long as the dollar amount's there, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I think they'll get there, too. I think it's absolutely going to happen. My thing is, do we just need to have the asterisks next to every kind of era? Or is it something that as long as, as long as it keeps going, we'll just break it up? We'll say, oh, well, this guy was the best quarterback and broke the record, but, maybe he's not good as Montana, who didn't play 17 games and didn't get that opportunity. Or maybe he's not better than Dan Marino or whatever, Or maybe we get to the point where we're saying he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes only played a 20-game season and we're up to 82. I don't think we'll ever get there, but you never know.
Jonathan, good to see you. He says, love to see Andy Reid as happy as he was. It was a long time coming. Talk about a coach that deserved to win a Super Bowl. That's definitely one of them for sure, no doubt.
Absolutely. And Chuck says 17 makes sense because of the odd tiebreakers with 7 teams now in each division in the playoff, or in each conference is what he meant. In the playoffs, it is an odd number of games, but again, you'll have teams that are sitting at 10-7. And you're going to have to go back to whatever kind of tiebreaker you have. I think you'll still have a lot of those tiebreakers. I think it'll shuffle it up a little bit. I think you'll have less to worry about. The longer the season goes, the further teams will pull away. But I think that's a bad thing. I think you're almost better off going into week 16 or 17 with multiple teams neck and neck for playoff spots. I think that's what adds a lot of flavor to the back half of the season. The longer you make it, I think the less and less of that you're actually going to get.
Will, good to see you, man. He says he doesn't want a longer season. Well, Will, hate to break it to you, man, but I think it's going to happen. I'm right there with you. I don't know if I'm really big about it either, but unfortunately, owners want it. They have all the money, and that's how it rolls.
And I'm not against the owners. I mean, of course, you want to make more money, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you own a business, you want to make more money. This is how you do it. And it was a master stroke by them, just saying, hey, we know how we're going to get this through, and it's by giving the bottom 60% a pay raise and screwing over the top 40%, and then making the top 40% look like the bad guys when they're in these player meetings saying, guys, we're just not getting what we need to out of this. It's like you said, a lot of these guys are saying an extra $100,000 would look pretty good on me.
Yeah. Oh, Perry says, dude, go ahead and wear your KC hat all offseason on cam. Why else own it? I'm not going to lie to you, man. Red is not my color.
We're in baseball season now.
I have enough red right here. I don't need any more red on my body.
Red is not my color.
It's not.
The Chiefs are my team.
They are. I can't help that they picked a terrible color.
Weird. Definitely weird.
Is baby blue your color? Don't have to because you're wearing the baby blue shirt.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Why do you think I wear this all the time?
Two-tone blue.
That's right. Navy on the shoulders, man. You just never get to see him. Jonathan says he loves to see Andy Reid as happy as he was. It was a long time coming.
I read that one.
Most people agree with you.
And I read that one already.
Well, I'm reading it again. It was that special to me that I had to talk about it.
Oh, man.
A couple more of these. Chuck says, in that playoff scenario, only one team gets a bye. Do you like that? In the 7-team kind of breakdown.
I wasn't going to get into it.
I know we argued about the math last time.
Because I still think that they should figure out how to get half the teams at that point.
See, I'm just like shorter seasons. The tighter you keep the playoffs, the better teams get in there. Because a lot of these sports, look at basketball. Even
I don't know, man. The 7-9 crappy Titans team made it to the AFC Championship.
9-7.
Or that's my dyslexia got the best of me.
But we've had 7-9 teams make it.
Yeah.
Should it just be the best 6 teams? Would that be better?
No, I think that's where you get that positive side of having an extra team or two in the playoffs. It's like, yeah, I always bring it up. I always bring the Bears up their 10-6 season after they fired Lovie Smith. It's like 10-6 teams should be in the playoffs. Plain and simple.
Should be. But there's also the whole win your division thing, right? And then don't worry about it. Just beat whoever's in your division. You got 3 teams to beat. A lot of people kind of say, "Oh, well, they were good. They should have made the playoffs."
It was the best division in football.
And I'm sure the Patriots are saying the same thing that year Matt Castle had to play, right? We deserve to be in the playoffs. But you didn't beat your division. Just win your division. That's
They were
it.
in the playoffs.
Not with Matt Castle. That was the only year they missed, and it was because Tom Brady tore his ACL. They like that stretch. No, it was.
They just didn't win their division.
Just win your division. That's it.
But they didn't. So they didn't win their division. But I think they're a wild card.
I don't think so. I'm going to Google it while you carry the air. Go ahead.
All right. Will do. Jonathan's Mariners season this year. Dude, you got me, dude. I mean, you tell me what you think the Mariners could do, and I'll agree with you and disagree. I think they're still a good team. I still think they're on the cusp of being exactly what they kind of were last year, minus a few pieces gone and a few pieces added. I don't really see them making a splash in the offseason. I still think it's very heavily sided with, you got the Dodgers and the Yankees. I think that's kind of where it stands, in my opinion. I know you got the Astros, but they're going to struggle because of all their pitching woes. I don't know, man, where the Mariners fly. It's kind of hard for me. Where do you got on the Mariners?
I think they'll be good, but I don't think they'll be good enough to make a dent in the playoffs. I don't think they're quite there yet.
So
but I think they're
exactly
good.
what I said. Yeah.
But they should be fine out there in the AL.
Yeah.
I'm not in the AL West, I should say. I think they'll be okay. They'll probably be a playoff team, if I had to guess. But, well, I don't know. Then again, the Yankees could get hurt because they're my pick to make it to the AL this year, and the Yankees could just all get mowed down with injury. I mean, Aaron Judge has a broken rib. They just lost Severino or whatever. It's up in the air. Baseball's a long, hard slog, man. There's going to be a bunch of teams that come out of nowhere and surprise you. But I like the Mariners right now. Also, I was right. 11-5, 2008. The Patriots did not make the playoffs the year Tom Brady went down.
Yeah, Chuck put that on there.
Yeah, well, Chuck knows what he's talking about. And
Chuck
you know
does
what?
know what he's talking about.
So do I.
Then again, 11-5 teams should make the playoffs. Just throwing that out there.
Chuck says, have we seen the Rams' new logo, and does it look terrible?
I have seen it. You want to see it?
No, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah,
it looks terrible. It looks like a movie that didn't get the rights to the NFL logos, came up with a logo that was as close to the Rams as they could possibly get without breaking that copyright infringement.
It has a ram on it.
Yeah, it looks terrible, dude. What is this, like, crappy... I don't know. Looks bad. Looks bad to me. I don't like the LA with, like... It looks more like a rainbow than it does ram horns. Just have a picture of a ram. It's not that hard.
Yeah, but you could be like, that's a goat. You got to have the horns.
It's a ram. It's got horns. Like curling horns.
Some goats have.
Yeah, but not like that. Okay, we're not arguing about that. Again, this isn't the zoology podcast. This is...
Wait a minute, it's not? I'm in the wrong room.
This is a sports podcast, and I'll say this. The Patriots. I'm still stuck talking about them. They've got free real estate in my mind. The Rams messed up with this logo. I hope they scrap it. I hope they go back and they're like, okay, we saw some of this fan reaction. We'll go back to the drawing board. And even though we want to incorporate the city of LA, and I get that. When you go and spend all that money to move franchises, you want to have the city involved in the logo, and you want to change it. You want to make it fresh and new. This ain't it, Chief. That's all I can say. This ain't it. It looks rough. If you haven't seen it, go Google it.
It's not terrible.
It's terrible. It's the worst one in the NFL now.
Well, yeah.
Which one would be better? Name one logo right now that's worse than that pile of crap they threw out there, dude. It's terrible. This is like they hired a hipster designer out there in LA who has never watched a single down of football and said, hey, just take a shit on a canvas or something and give us that. That's exactly what it is. I was trying to be more polite about it, but I got nothing. I have no other metaphor.
Don't make fun of the Cleveland Browns logo.
The Browns logo looks better, and it's literally a brown helmet.
It's an orange helmet, actually.
Yes, sorry.
So it's not even brown.
All right, yeah. Yeah, hilarious, yes. True. But, yeah, the Browns logo looks better than that. I think this is the worst logo in football.
Will, you're right. The Bucks did go 10-6 and missed the playoffs. Telling you again. Think when you hit that double-digit mark, you should probably be in the playoffs. Just throwing that out there.
Win your division. You know there's 3 teams that you need to finish better than, and you don't have to worry about it. And I'm saying this as a Titans fan. Team that's perennially, just not quite good enough. Just beat the Texans. Just beat the Colts. And guess what? You're in the playoffs. I didn't notice I didn't put the Jaguars in there, because that's just assumed. But just beat those teams in your division, and you're in the playoffs. I like the way they have it set up.
Ryan, good to see you. Cody, good to see you. Ryan says the Chiefs red and yellow reminds him of McDonald's. A bunch of Ronald McDonald's out there. Hashtag Raider Nation. Silver and black is the best logo and colors in the sport. They also the only football team to have silver and black. college and pros. Well, not all of us could have a black soul like you do, Ryan, okay? Some of us are just colorful people inside, and the red and the yellow just shine bright, especially in that Super Bowl victory where your team was not even in the playoffs. That's right, Ryan. Not even in the playoffs.
I'm seeing some Panthers hate. Some people are saying the Panthers don't have a good logo.
Whoa. No,
Is it that bad? I don't think it's great. I'm not like this is a top 5 historic logo, but I mean, come on. It's better than that pile of crap they put out for LA.
Dude, the Browns is the worst logo. It is an orange helmet. Come on.
No.
Yes.
No.
Cody said, please pray for me. He lives in Michigan. He's a Knicks fan, a Mets fan, and a Jets fan. Well, I don't know why do you live in Detroit?
Wait, say that again. Knicks, Jets, and who?
Knicks, Mets, and Jets.
Which one of those teams
lives in Michigan,
wins a championship
so if
first?
he lives in Detroit, I am actually going to pray for him.
My next question is, my next question is, which one of those teams wins the championship first? My answer is none of them. They're just all going to keep screwing up for the rest of the time.
I don't know, man. You're a big Sam Darnold fan.
I am. I like Sam Darnold, but you got to put a guys around Sam Darnold, and that's just not going to happen, right? Adam Gase did such a bang-up job in Miami. Let's just give him a job in New York, and things will be fine now that there's more media scrutiny and more pressure in the bigger market.
And Jonathan agreed with us. He says he thinks that the Mariners will make the playoffs because of the Astros crap that they got into. I'm right there with you, man. I don't really know if they're like going to be that much better, but because the Astros are kind of falling off their wagon.
I think the Astros are due for a big step back. I think there's going to be so much hate and everything. Plus, you almost have motivated every other team. Now that this cheating scandal has come out against them, every time you go and play the Astros, it's going to be like going into the World Series. You're like, I want to beat these guys. These clowns are the guys who cheated everybody to win their World Series. I want to beat them. There were guys like Mike Trout sounding off on him and everything. I get that, but it's also like, okay, were the Angels really a threat to win the World Series? I understand the Yankees, and I understand like the Dodgers that are like, hey, we could have won if not for you guys. But everybody's going to go into those games with the mentality of like, I want to embarrass these guys. And more than that, I think baseball, we have the next crop of people that are like dead to the Hall of Fame voters. I think that's like every Astro that was on that team. And it's going to take 20 years to find out, or at least 6 or 7.
Yeah, we can't get into that, dude. There's way too much about that. Ryan completely disagrees with me. He goes, oh my God, the Seattle Mariners? He says, laugh his butt off, bro. They are finishing dead last. He guarantees it.
Guarantee. All right, we'll write it down. And then I guarantee you, I'll come right back to this at the end of baseball season and be like, there's hell to pay when they finish third. I'm kidding. I think they're good. I don't think they're great, but I think they're good. I think they'll make that first round. They might be a wild card. And I think they'll be one of those teams that maybe they have a one and done. Maybe they actually get to a full playoff series in baseball. But I think they will. I think they do make the playoffs.
Cody says Southwest Michigan. Okay, man. You're safe.
Chuck says as long as Cam is in Carolina, their jerseys will have flamboyant colors. I don't hate that. Like, I don't hate it's different. I don't want everyone to be wearing blue or red, right? That's how many college teams are the Tigers? I'm tired of like the standard branding. I don't hate that they're like a little bit brighter blue color. I don't know. You make fun of the Titans all the time, but that's a weird blue as well.
Yeah. Juan, good to see you, man.
We can't all be the Chiefs that wear red and white. Just say it.
What?
Can't all be standard.
How is that standard?
Red and white. It's like, I bet if you Google it right now, it's the most used jersey colors for every team
We're
ever.
America's team, okay?
You're missing the blue. You're not. That's Dallas, supposedly.
Well, we have...
Are they still, though?
We just don't have the blue.
I think
We're
the
red,
Titans
white.
are America's team. They beat the Patriots this year. What else do you want from us?
Jesus, we beat them too, just not in the playoffs.
Just not when it mattered.
Ryan says you're all on glue. Seattle be finished last in the AL West. Yes, actually, and that coronavirus. I'm also on that coronavirus.
Everything else, the fever's already got to him.
Juan says, "What do you think about Bob and the Texans coming this year? The B.O.B. the Bob."
As for the Texans, I think they're going to be a very solid team, but I think they're going to mess up their future here. I think it's going to be one of those things now with Bill O'Brien taking, and that's what he meant by Bob, Bill O'Brien. With him taking the reins as both GM and coach, he's not Belichick, is the thing. Like, he's a decent coach, maybe even I don't want to say elite, but maybe somewhere in like that B range where he's a good coach that can get your team to the playoffs, and he just hasn't shown that he's just some mastermind that, has the game by the balls and has some secret that nobody else can seem to figure out. I just don't like the idea of turning the keys over to the entire franchise to one guy and saying, just go ahead and take it.
I said this in a podcast or one of our shows, a podcast. It is a podcast, but one of our shows earlier this year where I think this is the ownership going, okay, it's all you. Go out and win us what you said you can do. You have all power. And now his window of getting it is closed, that much close.
I think more than that, it's just the Texans making bad decisions. Because if you remember, they got in trouble for tampering with one of New England's guys to bring him in as a GM a couple of years ago. And this was like right when they fired their GM, and they haven't had one since. And then they were like, well, Bill O'Brien's been the faithful soldier. He probably has been all in ownership's ear saying, hey, give me the reins.
The window is just coming that much close to being closed completely on them. I think this is just an opportunity. As far as tampering goes, every team tampers.
Yes, but they got caught doing it, and the NFL was like, hey, you probably should. I mean, the Patriots were complaining about them being cheated. So they were probably doing something, is the thing. As far as giving him the reins for the Texans, don't love it. I don't love pretty much any coach controlling the entire personnel decisions. I think it's a multi-person decision-making process because I think he's already shown with this Laramie Tunsil deal, and I know he probably didn't have his hands entirely in that, but I bet you he was a driving force for it. I think they overspent on it. 2 first-round picks for any guy that's not a quarterback. It's just too much. And it's a guy that you're going to have to pay coming up here. It's too much, I think, they've given up. I think eventually this winds up in disaster, but I think they could be good for this year, and maybe one more they squeak out before the chickens come home to roost and all these first-round picks and all these other picks that they're giving up, they just have like a divergence of talent. We'll see. They're in win-now mode, but I don't know if the team is good enough to be in win-now mode.
Yeah, I hear you. Cody says the Knicks will win first. He says CP3 will be coming next year, and hopefully he can pull another big name into the Knicks.
How much does CP3 have left in the tank? He'll be, 36 then? 35?
See what he's doing in Oklahoma?
Yeah, and to be fair, I was like the biggest guy that was down on that. I was like, what are the Thunder doing?
They obviously knew something.
Well, he said, I've still got something left in the tank. Because that was it in Houston.
He's like 5 or 6 games from being the second seed in the West.
Yeah, I know, and I'm saying that in Houston, the last years in Houston before they got rid of him, it was like, he's done. And that was the big scare when they traded for him. Like, he's old already. By the end of this 4-year contract we're giving him, he's not going to have everything left in the tank. I just wonder, eventually you run out of it. Is he going to be able to go to the Knicks and rebuild that franchise with James Dolan being the owner? No.
Yeah,
the answer is no.
Yeah, the answer.
No.
I was trying to maybe think a yes out of it, but
remember last year when they're like the Knicks are going to get Kevin Durant and they're going to get Kyrie Irving and they're going to get all these awesome free agents, and then everybody wanted to stay 1,000 feet away from the Knicks.
They
went to Brooklyn before they went to the Knicks, Drew.
Why? Why do you think that is?
James Dolan, specifically.
Barry says the Rams logo might be a test department false tease. It was a logo that was never finalized. It's the internet. He'll wait to see the jersey.
I think that'll be the story. They'll be like, oh, that was an internal leak. Those are designs that we never intended, but I think that was like the float it, and then they get crapped on by everybody.
The backlash.
That's nothing. That's we weren't serious.
You fire the guy that designed it and said that he leaked it.
Exactly.
All right, Ryan says Texans, Houston's Angels, and the A's are miles better than the Mariners. He says, let's make a bet. He'll rock the Seattle profile pitcher all next year if he's wrong, if they don't finish last in the AL West.
I would make that bet with you, but first off, I won't remember, because come baseball season, everybody always remembers these things better than me. They're like, you bet me this and everything else. And second...
And there's times I'm like, no, I did not.
And second, every time I make a bet, when I win, everybody stops watching the show. And when I lose, they're like, okay, time to pay up. So, respectably, you're allowed to have that opinion. I don't feel super strong about the Mariners making it. I would normally make that bet with anybody, but I can't do it. I can't do it because I like you too much. I want you to stick around. I don't want you to be embarrassed when they actually do, and I'm like out here rubbing it in your face, and you have no recourse. So, like, they'll finish like second to last, and I'll be like, "Yeah, told you, didn't I?"
No, you're not wrong. Everything you said is 100% true. Every time we bet somebody, and we win, that's the last time we see them.
Yeah, tip of the cap, hit the old dusty trail, unsubscribe. I'm out of here. And maybe we go too hard in the paint, to be fair. You know, I've given some people hell over saying the Raiders are taking Kyler Murray. But
we only rub it in a little bit.
I only rub it in a lot. That's okay, though.
Chuck says the Yankees have already won this series. Already as baseball has a black eye due to Houston-Boston scandal, what a better way to get people back into baseball. Have the Yankees, the most hated franchise, won their number 28 World Series.
30%.
I agree, but not hated, loved.
No, they are hated. I mean, everybody hates the Yankees, but 30% of baseball fans are Yankees fans.
Besides half the Yankees, half the baseball fans.
There is nothing more than the MLB would love than the Yankees to actually win their first title in 10 years. They would love that.
Yeah.
As for what they can do to bring things back to the sport, speed it up. I got things to do today. I don't have 4.5 hours. And get rid of all this old blood BS where a guy can't have fun out there. If I hit a home run, I want to see a guy, I don't know, like throw his baseball bat at the pitcher or something. Let him have fun. Let them have fun. That's baseball's problem. Everybody's all got their jock strap up their ass cracked. They can't do anything.
Yeah, that's probably not where they should have it. What?
You're right. You're right.
You
Can't argue with that.
You looked at me like I should have said that. I'm like,
I just had nothing to say. I had nothing to say that.
Oh man.
Ooh. And we appreciate that, Ryan. You know what? No, you're good. You're good. I will make that bet with you.
He says when he wins.
Wait, what am I supposed to be betting?
Hold on. He says, but when he wins, you're putting up Raiders merchandise on your desk up front. Well, first of all, it's a bar, Ryan. Okay.
And we'll do it anyway. Just to annoy Drew and the rest of the Chiefs fandom we have.
Dude,
if you send us something,
I was trying to think
what
what
I
I
on
could
the
do.
bar.
You know, I actually don't hate the Raiders. Don't hate them. Don't like the Broncos though. Don't like them.
Incomplete. I love that actually. I love it. I love the razzing by the crowd, and I know you don't, but I love it.
Wait a minute, razzing the crowd. Dude, it's okay. When you're the best, you create haters. It's just what it is.
Wins one Super Bowl. When you're the best. When you're the best franchise in the NFL.
Well, yeah, we are.
Okay.
How many your team got? Yeah, okay. So when you have two...
Actually. let me go back a little bit.
Actually, go ahead and...
Did Warren Moon win any?
Go ahead and take your two favorite
Did
teams.
Steve McNair win any? No.
Go ahead and take your
I
two
think Jake
favorite
Locker
teams.
got one.
Take your two favorite teams. Bring that total up. Does it beat my favorite team?
No, we're tied. The Bucks won.
One.
Yeah.
We have two.
Oh, wait. Now we're losing. Never mind. Take it back. I forgot about that. All right. Oh, okay.
Yes. Dude, absolutely. We have a Raiders can, man. Dude, I will literally put it on.
He'll wear a Raiders helmet if you send him one.
Yeah, I would. I'll literally put it on the bar. I will put it on the bar until the season starts.
But
I'll put it until the season ends.
I'll make a bet with you, Ryan. If you win, I will change my profile picture, personal profile picture. So you're getting better than
you.
Anyone
Don't
else.
even have a Facebook.
I do.
Oh,
what do you think we're watching on? I'll change it to a Raiders or whoever you choose for me to. I don't know, like a Mariners with a line drawn through them if you want, as long as they finish last. If they don't finish last, you gotta. I don't know. I gotta think of a suitable punishment.
I never think that I would bet on the Mariners doing anything.
Just not being last. Take the field. Anytime everybody gives you the field, you take it.
Oh yeah, I'm taking it.
Exactly. I'll take the field.
I'll put that Raiders can right here on top of Mahomes'
That's
head.
betting advice from your Uncle Jake, okay? Anytime everybody gives you the field, you take the field. All right. We were talking about the CBA, and then I lost my place. We got to talking about pretty much everything out in left field, but that's good. Do you want to talk Dak Prescott? Do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, hold on. Let me catch up with this. Ryan, man, we do appreciate the love, dude, and hopefully you don't go anywhere, man. We really enjoy you being here.
We do. And that's why we're hesitant to make bets.
Yeah, we really are. One, he says, do you guys think that this whole coronavirus stuff going on, that we'll be seeing fanless games from the NBA, MLB, and other sports in the U.S.?
It'll be the NBA first, if it happens.
Yes, and it's already happening. I mean, they've...
the NBA's already laying down plans for what do we do if and when this becomes an epidemic. But let me say this. I know there's a lot of panic out there. I know there's a lot of people that watch the news, and the news loves talking this stuff up because they want you constantly glued to your TV, and they want you to be worried. This has a lower mortality rate than the regular flu does. You can get it easier, but you're safer than you are getting the flu when it comes to the coronavirus. Do I think we will see teams sequester their games, kind of? I mean, you're already seeing it overseas. Well, Serie A for Italy, the Spanish Football League.
It's already happening
football,
here.
It's actually soccer.
And it's not that they're not going to be fanless. They're not going to play it. The Ivy League is not having a tournament. In the NCAA basketball tournament, they're not having it. I mean, that's already happening.
I think when you talk about the major pro sports and anyone that's not the Ivy League where people are actually watching, they will still play the games. They'll just do it with no crowds because there's too much money in TV.
I would have watched the championship because they're the team that's going to make it into the dance, and maybe both of them, depending on who they are. I mean, it matters to me in the championship. I'm not going to watch game 1 to 10, but I'm going to watch the championship for sure. I'm going to definitely be paying attention to it.
You want to see Rice versus Duke? Or not Duke.
Well,
you want to see Rice versus Harvard?
It's actually Yale. Yale's number 1 seed, so I guess they're the ones.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You don't want to watch, like, the depth? Come on, dude. I thought you were...
I guess not. I guess I'm not a big enough
You're
fan.
supposed to be our college basketball expert.
Oh, what? When did this... I didn't sign up for this.
Specifically Ivy League. You're our Ivy League beat writer.
Perry, I do have a bar. This is actually my house. This is a bar. This is a working TV, and this is a bar that my grandfather built in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't see the kegerator. It's right off screen.
Yeah, kegerator's over there.
You got all their cans and a bunch of other junk stacked on it, but it's there.
Yeah. New hot water heater that I just bought. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Same room. Thomas also said, what's my favorite drink? I like Yingling is my favorite.
Chuck Thomas.
Did I say Charles?
No, you said Thomas. Mr. Thomas.
I don't know. There is no Thomas in here right now, so...
You said Thomas. His name is Chuck.
Oh, I got it. All right.
Mine is the good old PBR.
Yeah, I like PBR too.
The nectar of the gods.
But I'm a Yingling man. I am a Yingling man. Oldest brewery in the United States. Look them up. If they're not in your state, complain about it. Because they're only in like 20 states. But they're great.
It's a grandpa beer. Yes.
Well, I am 65 already. Perry says... He will at least say that both Kansas City and the Raiders will make the playoffs. Moving to new stadiums tends to bring winning magic. And by that, he means the refs kind of helping you out, like they helped the Rams out a little bit and get to that Super Bowl. First off, I don't think the Chiefs need the help. As for the Raiders, they're trending upward, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You don't sit there and have all the rumors going out that you don't want Derek Carr to be your quarterback. You should have gone out and smashed all that immediately. When you bring
even if it's a lie, right?
Even if it's a lie,
yes.
Which they did not do, it's an issue. I think it creates discord in the locker room. It creates Derek Carr kind of going, man, why? I mean, he's going to be professional. He's going to go out there and play it all, but it's not necessarily him. It's the other players around him. It's like, well, Derek might not even be here next year. Why am I going to, create a chemistry with this guy that's not going to be my quarterback of the future? I mean, there's issues when that stuff comes out. There's issues.
Fair enough. Ryan, it is a deal. I will change my personal profile to anything that's not extremely lewd. I mean, you can get a little risque. I don't mind. But as long as it's not extremely lewd that my grandma would be like, Jake, what are you doing? I'll change my profile to that for a week. You do the same thing.
It's going to be a picture of my butt.
The Mariners will not finish last.
Picture of my butt.
So here, says Jake, it's a beer bet. The Mariners will not finish last in the AL West.
They might.
It's a bet.
But no.
It's a beer bet. And you know what? I'm counting on you to remember it. Because I certainly will not. As for the Raiders gear, like I said, if you want to send it, we will put it on the bar. Period. Yeah. Regardless of whether I win this bet or whether I lose it.
Absolutely.
Anything. Well, not anything. I take it back. Anything sports related, we will put on the bar in honor of anybody who wants to send it to us.
Justin, good to see you. Ian, good to see you. Justin says Cowboys and Steelers fans, just wrap it up for next year already. No team to play in the Hall of Fame game has won a Super Bowl the same season. Interesting stat, but I think it's kind of an ESPN stat where we're like, it's more circumstantial, right? I mean, the Bears and the wait, say that one more time. What was the stat? They haven't played. No team that's played in the Hall of Fame game has won a Super Bowl. Okay, but you're talking about like two teams, and they haven't won the Super Bowl in the exact same year. They played the Hall of Fame. Exactly. Like I said, bit of an ESPN stat. Don't worry about it too much. It's not like the kiss of death. The odds of it statistically happening, if you assume that all things are equal, incredibly small. Well, obviously, everything isn't equal. Well, Ian's going to love this. But still incredibly small. Ian's going to love this. The Steelers are not winning the Super Bowl next year. Big Ben comes back. The defense is great. They add some weapons. You get through Kansas City. You have one good game in the playoffs. Are not winning the Super Bowl next year. You have one good game in the playoffs and beat KC. I'm telling Ian. Then maybe a second one where you beat the Patriots. But let's face it, you have those two games, you're not beating the Titans in the AFC Championship. So you're right. Steelers not going to the Super Bowl. No, but interesting stat going back to the Hall of Fame game thing. Again, to me, I call them ESPN stats. They're out there. They exist. But how much are they actually correlated? Probably not that much. Is it the extra game where nobody plays that wears them down? No. The stats that I love where it's like Peyton Manning is undefeated on real grass.
Yeah.
Like, that's the stuff that I'm like,
I like the one where
God.
it's like Lamar Jackson is the first quarterback to throw for 283 yards, run for 126, throw 2 touchdowns, run for 1, only fumble once, and dodge 8 tackles. That's an ESPN stat. Like, okay, you're cherry picking to say some guy is the first guy to do it.
Though.
Yes, but you're cherry picking to be the guy that is the first one to do that specifically. I get what you're saying about it. I just don't bother it. I don't worry about it too much. I'm not like, oh, my team's in the Hall of Fame game. It's over for us. Send it off, right? We're done. We're done. Why even play this year?
Just as that was just a jab at McCarthy. Your guys are the ones that let him go. The Packers are the ones that let him go, man.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, and maybe rightly so, right? I mean, they went to the NFC Championship.
Well, you were sitting here telling me Tom Brady's going to go to the Cowboys and win a Super Bowl.
And I said, where would he have the best chance to? And it is the Cowboys. Yeah. Hall of Fame game or not. I don't know. Maybe he plays that one drive and tears his ACL, and that's it for Tom Brady. Which, wouldn't that be nice? But not going to happen. He won't play at all in the Hall of Fame game if he were to go to Dallas, and he won't. They're going to franchise Dak Prescott. You heard it here first. I was going to talk about that. That was going to be one of my major points for the episode. I know we're kind of like, we're more in comment mode and everything. The Cowboys aren't re-signing Dak Prescott. They just floated him a $33 million offer, which supposedly was scoffed at, and they said, we're not close. They've got to franchise him. They're going to give him $26, $27 million. I think we're looking at a Kirk Cousins scenario where Dallas isn't going to have anything to do after 2 years, and they're going to have to let him go. Maybe we even see him traded.
Yeah, maybe. Ian says, I need to find a new Steelers bar. Stairway to 7. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Sorry.
And Chuck, we appreciate the share, man.
Just remember, you told me the Lions are going to be the number 1 in their division. So it's really hard to believe you right now. It's really hard to believe you right now.
That was the best, worst bet I've ever seen. Now, obviously, they didn't finish first. They were 3-13-1.
But they were so much better than their record.
3-12-1.
They're so much better than their record.
But 12 of their games were within 1 score.
And we were like, oh my God,
Matt Stafford didn't play half the year.
Ian's a genius, and he's about to nail this.
Absolutely agree. Juan goes on to say, what do we think about Carolina sticking with Cam, a.k.a. the Diva? They're sticking with Cam, but they just re-signed Kyle Allen to another 1-year deal. Do we have some intrigue out there in Carolina as to who the actual starting quarterback is going to be? Because I know Cam, coming off that Liz Frank injury, is obviously the favorite to take over since they said we're not planning on moving him, we're not planning on cutting him. Do we have some intrigue going into the offseason with Kyle Allen returning? Because I don't think he's super satisfied with, hey, you won us some games. I know we had a bad stretch for the last, what was it? They lost like 7 of 8 at the end where things kind of fell apart. We fired Ron Rivera, the team quit, everything else. But we want you to come back on a 1-year deal. I don't think he comes back unless there's some kind of guarantee or some kind of promise that, hey, at the very least, you will get to compete for the starting job in Carolina.
Well, I think it's just a matter of like, it's kind of like a matter of due diligence. It's like you have a former MVP, you have a young quarterback in Kyle Allen that showed some success a little early. You're a brand new head coach to the NFL. Getting rid of these guys and moving on with a rookie is not always the best idea. The whole Kingsbury and Kyrie Murray was not always the best option to go with. It usually kind of backfires on them. So bringing these guys back to have a little bit of experience kind of helps you. And let's be honest, where they're sitting at in the draft pick, maybe they don't see anyone. Maybe they don't see Tua, or they don't like Tua, or you don't see a quarterback in this draft where they're like,
someone's
hey,
going to bite that bullet. Someone's going to be like,
no, but
I'm trading up for Tua. But I get what
my
you're saying.
point is maybe they're like, we can't get to the guy that we like,
Yeah.
so let's keep these guys here that are used to being here, and we'll look for a quarterback next year. He's got 7 years on his contract.
I did read a rumor today.
He's in no rush at this point.
I did read in the rumor today that the Panthers are already planning on tanking for Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
it makes sense.
I know we don't want to think an NFL team's going to tank for 16 games, but it could be out there. You never know. Nathan goes on to say, good to see you, by the way. He says, Dak is the dumbest quarterback in NFL history. Take the money. But didn't we say that about Kirk Cousins? Kind of. That's the only thing I'll say. And I know Dallas is in a better spot right now than the Redskins were, even with Kirk Cousins. I know they went to the playoffs with him, and they were a perennial, 8-10 or to 7 kind of win, somewhere in the middle with Kirk Cousins when he had Pierre Garçon and he had Deshaun Jackson. We didn't really say he was an idiot for trying to leave, though. I don't know. There were some people that were like, just take the deal. The money's out there in front of you. But he kind of bet on himself. He knew he was going to get paid with a franchise deal. even if he were to get hurt, isn't there a team out there that would take the chance on Dak Prescott? Is it smart to not take the money?
So what the rumor is that he wants to be among the top tier of quarterbacks, like the new shelf of where the number should be.
He wants to redefine the market.
Yeah, and he's not at 33. That is.
Yeah.
That is right there. And I don't get it, man. Someone in his camp is putting some unreal facts in his head going, dude, you can get a lot more. Just hold out.
Do you think he could? If he hit the free market and he's an unrestricted free agent, let's say Dallas is like, you know what, we're done. We're signing Tom Brady. We don't care. You can leave.
I think this is the same hype that you sit there and tell me that Ryan Tannehill's market's massive outside of Nashville, too.
I think there are desperate teams that will pay it and just be like, I don't care. He had a good year. He could do that for me.
But Dak is a lot younger than Ryan Tannehill. He hasn't really had a flop season yet, kind of like Ryan Tannehill.
Hold on. Flop is not the right word, but up until they acquired Amari Cooper, remember, there was talk that, like, Dak isn't good enough. That was the big talk. Dak is the guy holding the team back. Then he gets Amari Cooper, and he's setting all kinds of records.
Where was that talk about? No way, dude. He came in, played for an injured Tony Romo, and they're like, we don't need you anymore, Romo, even though you hold, like, every throwing record imaginable for our organization.
I'm talking about the Cowboys. I'm talking about everybody out in the ethos. Like, every fan was like, it's not good enough. It's Dak Prescott. And then they trade for Amari Cooper, and they're like, oh, now he can throw. Like... A lot of it could be Amari Cooper, and you could say it wasn't his weapons. I mean, Terrence Williams did not excite, okay? No. Terrence Williams didn't get the job done in Dallas. I respect that.
Yeah.
But my question is, what happens when he goes to somewhere, like, let's say Detroit moves on from Matt? No, that's not even a good example, because I like their receivers. Let's say he goes somewhere that doesn't have the best receivers. Something happens in Seattle, he goes out there, and outside of Tyler Lockett, he doesn't really have a whole lot of weapons. Does Dak Prescott stay the same guy? Is he the guy that elevates people? That's my question. When you pay a guy $33 million a year, he's got to elevate everybody.
Right.
Period.
Agreed.
Like, he's got to be Russell Wilson. That you're like,
but
we
again,
could throw a lot more than we do.
When you're talking about a team that's hungry for a young quarterback to be the face of the franchise, if you think Ryan Tannehill has that opportunity, I think Dak Prescott has it even better than that.
I agree. I think, though, again, Dak hits the open market. He'll get paid. But I'm saying, how many teams do you think would be interested?
But go back to your other
question.
Look
at, like, Denver right now. Do you think they would move on from Drew Lock to say, I'll take Dak Prescott? I think they would.
Yeah, I think they would too.
I absolutely do. I even think they might consider it for Tannehill because John Elway's like, oh, well, he had a great year. He's an amazing quarterback. He's the best quarterback I've ever seen. He's our guy, like you said, all the time when it comes to John Elway. I think, again, Drew Lock had some success there. I don't think the Broncos are supremely married to him. I think they'd love to bring in another quarterback if they saw it as an upgrade.
Yeah. Sharif, I just want to say welcome to the show, man. Glad you're here. I didn't want to miss out on that. Have fun in Memphis, man. We were down there with you.
He's getting closer.
Yeah.
We're going to have to move soon. Sharif says, Ravens left guard Marshall Yanda has retired. He's looking for the Ravens to draft a guard in rounds 2 or 3. It might even be earlier than that. The guy you should look at, Neftani Muti is his name, out of Tulsa. Injury concerns, but they've been different things. He hurt his shoulder, and I think he hurt his leg in a different injury. He's been a guy that's missed a lot of time in college, but he has Quentin Nelson's style. I'm going to just move you tendencies. I think he's going to be one of the best guards coming out of this draft, and the very likely will be somewhere in the second round that he's taken. I can see the Ravens trading up to get him because that offensive line is so key to what they want to do out there in Baltimore.
So the question you asked me was, does Dak Prescott find more than $33 million a year?
Yeah,
in a different team, and
yes.
my answer is not by much.
The Redskins could give him more than that. I think Dan Snyder would give him 40.
I don't think they'd take him. I think that's one team that I don't think they'll take.
Crazy as it is, they'll be like, forget Tua. Forget Dwayne Haskins, who we just spent the 10th overall pick on. Here's $50 million. Be our quarterback. And then Patrick Mahomes look at that like 65. Give me 65.
Juan says, we all know that Eckler's going to be the running back for the Chargers.
Yes.
Do you think Gordon walks?
Yes.
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 100%.
I think specifically the reason you saw this contract get done so early with Austin Eckler is because they saw what he did while Melvin Gordon was holding out this year, and they said, you know what? Why are we stressing this? We have a good running back in Eckler. We're going to go draft probably a second guy to hang out behind him, and we're going to let Melvin Gordon walk. We're not going to fall into the trap of paying a running back big dollars. Even though they rewarded Austin Eckler for his work. No doubt about it. But they're not going in and redefining the market with that Austin Eckler deal.
All right.
Ian says, so Brady to Tennessee or San Fran? New England. I've been the guy that's been pounding that drum the longest. I know all the rumors are out there. Eventually, Tom Brady will look at it kind of like you think, Drew, and I think he'll decide that returning to New England is his best chance to win a Super Bowl. It's the match made in heaven. I think it's going to happen again. He's going to return. As to whether they actually win, I don't know. They need some more weapons.
I think it's the Patriots as well. Ryan wants to know who takes the 8th seed in the Western Conference. I think it's the Pelicans. I think with Zion obviously healthy, playing well, the team's kind of rallying around him. I think the Grizzlies are going to be out, and I think it's going to be the Pelicans.
No love for the Grizzlies?
No,
I like what Morant's doing.
I like Morant's doing too, but the Pelicans Pelicans went from complete trash to, we're a decent team because of Zion.
I agree. I'd like to see it. And I you know who else would like to see it? The NBA.
Yeah.
More than anything.
No joke.
I could definitely see that happening. Definitely see that happening.
I mean, looking at it, maybe the Trailblazers, maybe they make a late run. Maybe the Spurs make a late run.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's open, I'll say that. And at the very least, it might be the best race in basketball at this point because the Lakers are going to be in it. The Clippers are going to be in it. That might be your Western Conference Finals. I don't know. Maybe Houston upsets and they get there. Maybe the Nuggets upset and they get there. Right now, the West seems like it's very top-heavy as it always does. To me, almost most of the excitement left in the basketball's regular season is who's actually going to get that 8th seed. And I guess you could say, will Milwaukee get that record of beating the Bulls and the Golden State Warriors for best record? I know they're on pace to tie it or whatever it is, or they were. Will they get there?
Where are they at right now? I have to look.
They've lost. I don't remember how many they lost, but they're on pace to tie it. Yeah,
12 games.
Okay, well then they're out of it, but still, they were on pace.
They were
to tie
it. It was 8 losses, but I think they had a little rough patch.
Does that tell you how much basketball regular season I watch?
The last 10, it was just these last 10 games. They were 6-4.
Yeah, I watch it, but still, basketball regular season. We're just waiting for the playoffs, right?
Well, they're already talking about getting rid of the fans out of there.
Why don't we just get rid of 40 of the games? Shrink it down a little bit so that I'm actually caring about basketball. And I know there was a lot of talk. Do we move the NBA regular season to December because we're tired of competing with the NFL? And we want that to be our best kind of start. I wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't either.
Shrink the season a little bit. They won't do it because they want to get all the concessions. They want to get all the ticket sales.
It'd give us something else to watch during the summer instead of baseball.
And it would be more meaningful, is what I'm saying. If you went to 60 games even, these races would be so much tighter. And that's why I'm worried about football extending theirs. Because the more games you add, the more variance you're going to get where the good teams will shine and they'll pull away from the bad teams and everything else. You don't have the intrigue of who's going to make the playoffs and I just need to play well for a certain stretch and I can get there.
Ryan says that Sacramento Kings take the 8th seed in his opinion, and Justin says Memphis has the hardest remaining schedule in the NBA schedule. Also, the Pelicans will get in at the end of the day. Zion gets Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think all those things happen. Even though I took the field when, to be fair, I made a bet on this too. I took the field that anyone but Zion Williamson would win the Rookie of the Year because of the time he spent out on injury. But it's looking like it.
He still might not win it.
I remember when I told everyone Barrett was going to win it. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, he went to a lot worse of a team.
I know. But I was like, well, nobody's good there. I figure he's going to shoot a lot.
Nathan's already rooting for the Lakers. Obviously not to be the 8th seed, but saying that they're going to win it all. Nick says
they could be the 8th seed. They'll be in probably the Western Conference Finals.
Nick wants to know what's our MLB predictions this year. Yankees win it all. I know, Homer.
I like the Dodgers. I know baseball is too early until you hit June.
This is their year.
How close have they been? This is a good team. The Yankees have injuries.
If it wasn't for Trash Can randomly making noises.
Well, you could say the same thing about the Dodgers, right? I thought you were talking about the Yankees.
No,
I was like, the Dodgers have the same complaint.
That's what I was thinking about was the Dodgers.
I'm going to say the Dodgers. My pick will be the Dodgers. Even though it could all fall apart, they're making the trades. They went out of their way to go get Mookie Betts. I know they put guys like Jock Peterson out, but I think the Dodgers will be the team that kind of cruises for a while. They're a 1 or a 2 seed going into it, and then maybe this is just the year. Clayton Kershaw isn't getting younger. I want to see him win.
I don't think they're anything but the number 1 seed.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They're a great team. But it's baseball, man. Weird things happen. You go through a stretch where just everyone's not feeling it. Nobody's even hurt. You're just not feeling it. You play a bad month of baseball.
There's no fans in the crowd. You got no cheering.
It's like June, and you're just like, ugh. I don't feel like going to work today. You know what I'm talking about. It's like 10 a.m. You don't know what's going on. So you have a couple beers and everything. Maybe that's just me.
We're 8 in the morning, right? So we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's about normal 8 in the
crack
morning
one for
me.
breakfast.
Cody says he hopes that New Orleans gets it, and half the old Lakers are taking on the new Lakers. Laugh his butt off. Zion wins over LeBron.
Well, that won't happen. But it's nice to dream.
Dude,
it would be fun.
I took too long drinking my coronavirus. It's frozen.
Now you got a Corona slushy. I get you. We appreciate the share. Ian, as always, we appreciate that. I got to read through some of these comments because I'm about 8 miles behind.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Justin says, are we doing NFL draft pick simulation like last season? If you're talking about a fan one, I'm open to the idea. It was a lot of work for me. Not going to lie. Hated it in the moment. But I got it done. It was fun. Yeah, okay, says the guy not involved in it at all. Says the guy reacting to everything.
No, my point was...
But I'm open to it.
What else you got going on?
Is that something you guys are like... Fair counterpoint. Okay. Harsh, but fair. If you guys are open, we would like to do a fan mock draft. But then again, last season, we had a lot of people tell us, hey, why are you guys mocking so many drafts?
And to be honest with you, there's a lot of guys that are in it that don't really listen to the show anymore.
That is true. That is very true. Also...
Hurts our feelings. We're people. Kind of.
Maybe not in your eyes, but we are. I'll say this. I'm open to the idea. I would like to do it. I think it'd be absolutely fun. I enjoyed it, even though it was a lot of work. I enjoyed it. Then again, I don't want to bore you. And a lot of people, when we got towards draft season, were like, oh my God, stop being Sports Illustrated that already has 12 mock drafts out. Stop it.
I'm ready to do another one. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I am too. I can talk about this stuff all day long. I love team building season. But, again, it's not about what I want. It's about what you guys want. If you want to do that, feel free to let me know. If there's a team out there, if you're new and you haven't been around, or if you just weren't aware of it, last year we did a fan mock draft where we got a fan from each one of these teams, every one of the 32, and had them mock who we took. Things got interesting. We had Will Greer off the board first overall. It got wild.
It did get wild.
But it was fun. It's just fun to see who everyone likes. I mean, I didn't have Will Greer going that high, but I had him as a high second-round pick.
I actually had him in the first round, so...
Yeah, so... Again, if that's something you guys want to do, you absolutely let us know. Because, again, I had a lot of fun. Then again, some people were like, hey, don't ever do this again. And I was like, okay, sorry.
Ryan says, watch out for the New York Mets. He says, remember I said that, or try. He's already making fun of our memory loss. But the Mets.
The
really,
Mets are
man?
that team that, like,
Really?
they have great... No, yeah, I'm going to say it. The Mets have great players, and then it never seems to come together.
God.
Jake DeGrom, I mean...
Yeah, their
Syndergaard
pitching's
can
great.
Yeah, I know.
But how long have we been saying that?
Forever. But get a couple bats, is what I'm saying. Buy a couple bats, and then
They're
have
not
them work
going
out,
to.
and then have them
And
work
they're
out.
going to bring someone up through their triple league, and they're like, oh, this is it. Everything's going to be great. And then he's like, hey, man, I want a big contract. They're like, see ya.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing in Baltimore.
Thank you. The Yankees are right up the street. But no, I agree. I think the Mets will absolutely mess it up. I think they're going to waste some careers, and then they'll be back to being the Mets. What's Darryl Strawberry doing right now?
I think he's getting ready to play again.
I was going to say, maybe we can win if we call him back up.
Oh, man.
Okay. All right. Great break. We're great at this. Nathan says Melvin Gordon.
Dramatic pause.
Whew, I needed a minute. I'm like sipping the last of my beer too. I'm trying to make it last.
I'm actually jealous of Nathan, man. He's going to Vegas for the draft. He's got to do a 2-day pass. We love the draft here. It was great. Nashville was
fantastic, man.
And
let me just party all weekend.
It was ridiculous.
Can they beat Nashville?
You can't walk
600,000 people across 3 days.
They're talking about blocking off the whole entire strip. You ever been to Vegas?
Yeah.
The strip is massive.
I know. Can they beat Tennessee? Are they going to get that?
It literally just like doubles what we have in our downtown.
Because people were worried about it, though. People were saying, "Oh, it's Nashville. It's not Chicago like we just had. What was it? Philadelphia before that. It's not this historic U.S. venue." And then you know what happened? 8 million rednecks showed up to watch the NFL draft in their backyard here in Nashville, dude. And it was great. It was a party.
It was.
I say that like it's a negative thing. It was so much fun, dude.
And it was funny because. Besides,
and it wasn't just rednecks; it was everybody. But
besides me and you, where you're a Titans fan and I'm a Chiefs fan, it literally like every like team fans like grouped up together. Yeah. So there'd be like a giant group of like Green Bay fans, and there'd be a giant like black and silver Raider fans.
You know who had the best representation? And I know this will surprise some people. Do you know who was best represented at the draft? And take a guess, because I guarantee you'll be wrong. I have never seen so many Detroit Lions fans as I saw at the draft.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 49er fans.
There were a lot of them too, but I'm saying like for Detroit, I wasn't expecting this big of a takeover. You know, you kind of expect the 49ers. They had their dynasty and everything else.
Yeah.
You expect like Patriots, you expect them to be there, and you expect a lot of Titans fans because it's their home city, everything else. I was like, what are all these people doing here from Detroit? They invaded Nashville. Michigan was basically occupying the city of Nashville for 3 days. I was like, where are all these Lions fans? I didn't know the Lions had that many fans.
Because no one wants to live in Detroit, so they moved to
Nashville.
Nashville.
Like, oh, warm weather. It's April. I think it's still snowing in Detroit. And meanwhile, it's like 85 down here. I don't blame them for coming. I'm just saying, I didn't know y'all existed. I thought there were like 13 Lions fans and then like some closeted ones that are like, I would never admit to it. I wear the brown paper bag over my head when I go and watch them. I was like, Detroit owns this draft more than anyone. I saw more Lions fans than Packers. I saw more than Steelers. I saw more Lions fans than Patriots. I was like, what is going on?
I agree with you. I think 49ers were probably close to it. There were a lot of
Niners fans too. And it was foreshadowing, right? They didn't know this was going to happen. But they had a high draft pick.
I'm trying to think. There's a lot of Atlanta fans, but they're pretty close to Atlanta.
Yeah.
To be honest, we
saw the Packers. We saw the Steelers. It was a
showing of every team.
Yes.
Maybe minus the Bucks.
I saw the Cardinals there.
Yeah, I saw Cardinals. Maybe minus the Bucks.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of Bucks fans.
I think it was Cliff Kingsbury, but I saw a Cardinals representative. Met Daniel Jones. That was cool. Now that he's good. I remember I was like, well, never see him again. He's going to be out in 2 years. I was wrong. I'm glad he worked out, to be fair, because exactly what I said. Nice kid. Not so sure how this turns out.
String bean. That's what you call it.
He was, dude. I think I weighed more than Daniel Jones. I was like, God. Nice guy, though.
Justin says Nashville was amazing. Can't wait for it to come back.
Me either, and it's going to happen. I bet you anything, if it disappoints in Vegas, if they don't beat Nashville's numbers, if it's like less than that, you'll have it again here in another 5 years.
It might be sooner than that.
Yeah, exactly. They'll probably go back to...
I'm just disappointed Justin didn't hit us up.
Yeah. They'll probably go back to...
See where our real friends are. Yeah.
Exactly. You think you know somebody. I think they go back to New York. I think you might even see Chicago revisited. They'll try to like make that tour of the big cities. Maybe they go somewhere adventurous.
It's cold up there.
Maybe they go somewhere adventurous like Seattle.
It rained, but dude,
but they did them all outside too.
It did. Well, I'm just saying it rained in Nashville, but no one cared.
Exactly. You're like, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, I think the draft will come back. Okay, couple more comments here. Now that we're 12 miles behind, Cody says, no, I said that. Wait, no, I didn't. Melvin Gordon and Phillip Rivers going to Tampa Bay. Feasible? It's a lot of money.
Yeah, they have a lot of money.
Talent.
They have a lot of money. They have the most money.
And they have a team that I think makes bad decisions. And I think making it rain could absolutely happen.
Rivers is going to the Colts.
Think so?
Yeah, I do.
I think that's very likely. But I think there's also another scenario where they're like, we could probably go with someone like Tannehill even over Rivers. Crazy as it is, because Chris Ballard's sitting on that hoard of money. If it's $2 million less, he's like, well, Ryan Tannehill had a better year than you, and Ryan Tannehill is younger. No, but more than that, he is an analytics guy. I'm not insulting Chris Ballard here. He's an analytics guy. He might look at it like, what am I going to get in the future, and what kind of contract do I have to give you? If my math doesn't line up, Chris Ballard could absolutely go to the Colts, or Chris Ballard could absolutely go with someone else over Phillip Rivers.
When you take Phillip Rivers, you're signing him probably to a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
If you're looking at you're looking at Tannehill, you're probably doing a 3, maybe 4. You know, is Ryan Tannehill your future, or is he just a bridge?
4 to 5 is probably more realistic.
I think when you take Phillip Rivers, you know this is a bridge to the next guy.
Andrew, he was like rated as like one of the top 3 quarterbacks for the weeks he played.
Dude,
someone is going to fall in love with him.
I know.
Someone. And I'm not saying it's the right answer, but it's going to happen.
Have you seen the guy? Have you looked
at him? And it's probably going to be the Titans.
Have you looked at him in the eye?
My life is going to be ruined.
He looks dumb, okay?
He looks dumb. His wife doesn't. His wife looks great.
His wife looks great. Maybe she felt sorry for him. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I actually like Ryan Tannehill. I actually like Ryan Tannehill coming out of the draft.
I like Ryan Tannehill. I'm going to clip that. He looks dumb. Ryan Tannehill looks dumb. Don't like him. Stupid. You're like me saying
dude, he's your quarterback of your team. Why would you say something like that?
Okay. What was your point before we get out of here, because we just wasted all our time? Not wasted. It was
my
good.
point is no one's looking at Ryan Tannehill going, that's our future at quarterback.
You are 100% wrong, because people don't. Oh, it's the rose-colored glasses. They're like, dude, he did that with Tennessee. We're better than the Titans at offense. Imagine would he be in my system? And then someone will overpay for him, and he'll turn into Case Keenum. Or, like I like to dream, the Titans will say, you know what, Ryan? Here's your prove-it deal. 3 years, reasonable money, come back. Derrick Henry returns. Jack Conklin returns. Everybody returns, and we get better. No, I know, it's my dream. Don't interrupt it. And then the Titans go on, and we get the same Tannehill for years. But I agree with you. That's very unlikely to happen. The problem is not everyone's going to see it that way. Not everyone. There are going to be, like we talk about all the time, guys that say, I can do it better than
I
them.
hope he proves me wrong. But what I see is
But not
a Mike Glennon, a Matt Flynn, those guys that showed like a little success, and everyone's like, yeah, that guy's going to be worth, $100 million 5 years, or whatever it is, and they're like, yeah, let's give him all this money in the world, and then he sucks, and they draft a young rookie, and then that guy starts.
Well, that might actually happen in Tennessee, but can I kind of counter that a little bit? First off, Matt Flynn had like one good game, and it was against the Patriots with Green Bay's like 4 wide receiver set that was just absolutely killer back then, and then everyone, like you said, fell in love with it. And you want to so a guy who does it for one game,
so you're talking,
they fall in love with it. And I'm not saying he's going to be great, but someone will fall in love with it. And I'm not saying it's the right decision, but someone is going to be like, it's going to be the Seattle thing where someone's like, that was great. Did you see that? You put it on the Patriots.
To rebuttal that is, this guy played behind the best running back in the league.
Yes.
Literally ran the ball multiple times. They're like, okay, now throw it. And every defense, for some reason, is like, oh, crap, they're throwing it. We don't even know how to cover the pass. And it
wasn't really that. It was, okay, Derrick Henry's killing us. We got to devote some resources and stop Derrick Henry. And then what happens? You put it one-on-one coverage, and you get a guy that's athletic enough, like A.J. Brown, and he catches the ball, and he finds open space, and then it's a touchdown. But guess what? You can win like that. The whole point of football is like make the defense have to decide who to cover.
Not everyone has Derrick Henry.
Yes, but they don't see it that way. Nobody ever sees it that way. The Bengals right now are like, dude, we could take Andy Dalton, and we've been historically better at offense than the Titans, and we'll just add him to the team, and things will be fixed. It won't happen, but I'm saying that's the way everybody in football thinks. Nobody's ever like, man, Titans got a great job there. I don't think I could have done that. You'll never hear anyone say that.
Justin has an excuse. He says, too many beers made 600,000 people look like 6 million. The reason why he didn't meet up with us. You know what? I'm sure I outdrank you, and I looked for you, Justin.
We were pretty trashed. We were going to film a lot more than we did. Never really happened. We were in party mode. We were. We filmed a little bit, but for the most part,
you saw me throw that football straight to the ground. That was awesome.
Yeah. No, I recorded it. You just missed. It would have been a pop fly for the free safety, but that's okay.
Did you kick a field goal? You missed all 3?
You kidding with this knee? I didn't try it.
What did you do? You did something.
We were going to do the 40-yard dash, but it was like 12 and a half miles long. I stood in line forever to get autographs from Titans players that might not be in the team next year.
Oh, that's right. I asked Corey Davis. He was ready to be a Kansas City Chief, and he laughed at me.
That was cool.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you serious?" It wasn't laughing. Drew was drunk and thought like he took it as a joke. It wasn't a joke. He was like, "Are you kidding me right now? I'm fighting for my life." He's like, "I'm fighting for my life, and you asked me this?"
I said, "No, dude. I'm just wanting to know when you're coming over."
I wonder if he thinks about that. Like right now. Like he's watching the Super Bowl. He's like, do you remember that guy that in the offseason was like, do you want to be a chief? I kind of want to be a chief right now.
I know that's what he thinks about.
Okay. Yeah, he might. You might be keeping him
We're actually pen pals. We write letters back and forth.
Drew, free real estate in Corey Davis's mind. He jinxed him. Okay.
Nathan says the Chargers will take a quarterback, but should they really? But he says they really should take a look at Teddy Bridgewater.
I think they'll do both. I think they will. I think that's actually a very likely signing. People will say they already have that guy in Tyrod Taylor. You know, the bridge guy. I'm going to hang, no pun intended, because it's Bridgewater, but they have the guy that's going to be the 3 to 4 year starter that maybe you could have, and you draft somebody. Yeah, exactly. And then you draft somebody, and then eventually he takes over because everybody wants change. I mean, don't they already have that in Tyrod Taylor? And I don't want to compare the two because I think Teddy Bridgewater is better than Tyrod Taylor, but do you really see it happening? I don't know. I don't think they signed Teddy Bridgewater and they're going to be like, he can beat the Chiefs. I don't think that's going to happen. I think instead they'll probably draft a guy, and maybe Tyrod's not the guy to carry the mantle and let the Chiefs just like maul this team until our rookie's ready to compete. But I don't see them going after Teddy Bridgewater and saying it's fixed.
Justin said he went wide left on the field goal, laces out. Man. Juan says...
Well, I did live in Buffalo, except that was wide right.
Juan says, will Christian McCaffrey have another monster year in Carolina? Yes.
One or maybe two more,
Yes.
and then he's going to be Todd Gurley, where you're like, what happened to him? He's like ready to move into a
Doesn't
retirement
have the knee
home.
issues like Todd Gurley does.
Not yet.
But what...
He has the back issues from having to carry that offense.
There's nothing last year, minus the carrying of the load, that would sit there and point that he will not do it again. The offense around him, regardless if it's Cam Newton or not, still goes through him, passing and on the ground. Juan, this is your number one fantasy player next year. This is a guy you must take at number one. I know a lot of people are going to point to Lamar. A lot of people are going to point to Mahomes. No, Christian McCaffrey is the number one guy.
Yes, absolutely. Also, Ian says the NFL draft needs to be in LA, and I think eventually it will be. But first, they got to finish building those stadiums.
Yeah.
As soon as they do, I think you'll see the draft out that direction.
That'll be the worst one ever.
And I won't say worst ever, but I don't know. It could be.
It's only because
I think people will go. I think it'll be a little more highbrow than I think the NFL wants.
The only
it to
people
be.
that are going to go are the people that live in LA, which is great. There's tons of people in LA. Makes sense.
People will travel to LA, but I think it'll be one of those things where it's just not well.
LA
executed.
is terrible.
I know. I've been there. It's great. I love it. The traffic, fantastic. It takes 12 years to get anywhere.
And then you get to
Don't
breathe
go
in.
there.
You get to breathe in that smog and that pollution. It feels good. Makes your skin all itchy and rashy. It's whatever.
No, I don't have those problems, but that's okay.
You got to really get in there. You got to
I haven't really experienced LA.
Inhale through the mouth, breathe out through the nose.
Fair enough. It will go to LA. I'm kind of with Drew with saying it won't be as good as everyone kind of expects it to. I think LA will let it down. I think there'll be a little higher brow than the NFL wants. And I don't know that it'll have. They may have the numbers, but I don't know it'll be the same kind of feeling it was going to the Heartland. I mean, that part of that is just like what makes football great. It's why like everyone when the Chiefs made the Super Bowl, I didn't hear a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I'm not watching because the Chiefs made it." No, everyone's like, "I want to watch it." You know, I think LA is just a little more polarizing, and it won't be quite as good of a product because of that.
Cody says draft in Detroit's the poopy mojo. They don't want anyone to get shot.
Yeah, I don't. The last time I visited Detroit, they had like buildings that were like literally crumbling and falling in on themselves right next to their hockey arena and everything like that. Like, it would have to be out of the city of Detroit. I think they just don't have the infrastructure to keep. Like, think about how many people travel and how many people will look at it and say it's Detroit. It's not somewhere that I want to go travel to.
Vegas will be a good place for the draft.
I think so too.
Nashville's obviously a good one, but those are like tourist places. Those are people that people love to travel.
And they're also
to.
kind of like hub cities. Like Nashville controls most of the East. If you were going here, there's tons of layovers in Nashville. A lot of people travel to Nashville. It's one of these up and coming cities. A lot of places to stay. Vegas is kind of like that for the West, where a lot of flights go out that direction. Obviously, you have all the attractions that Vegas has, but even more than that, beyond just it being a destination, it's almost like that stop that if you have to make a connecting flight, you go out to Vegas more often than not, and then usually branch out to whether it's Washington or Oregon or California, just depending on where you're coming from.
Ian, it's all jabs at you, man. Your team, your town. I'm just jabbing, dude. Just jabbing, trying to punch a hole through it.
He's just drunk. He's ready to fight somebody.
I got the coronavirus, dude. I'm ready to lick someone's face. Juan says he tried so hard to trade for Christian McCaffrey last year. He literally tried to give up two of the best players and an arm for him, but the guy who had him still didn't budge in his league. I wouldn't have either.
Next year, you won't either. The draft will change it a little bit. I'm not saying they're drafting a running back, but they might draft some receivers or something that makes things a little more complicated in Carolina. Most likely, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be CMC touching the ball too many times. But like I said, eventually he's going to turn into David Johnson, where you're like, what happened to him? And this will be what happened to him. They just carry the ball too much. They don't believe in load management. Carolina does not as a franchise. Look at Cam Newton. Look at CMC now. They don't believe in like limiting a guy's touches. They'll like just run it till the wheels fall off.
Ian, I'm agreeing with you that LA would probably be the biggest attendance, but it's not the fact that football's huge there. It's what brought. I'm just going to compare it to Nashville because that's a draft I was at. That's what I saw, and that's the most recent. It's not just that football's huge here. It's how many people from outside of the state came to Nashville to be part of it.
Yeah, it wasn't just locals. Yeah.
That's what made it so great. When you look at LA, yeah, you'll get some of those people, but realistically, that's just people from LA going there. I honestly don't.
I do think there'll be a lot of people that are like, I don't want to put up with the hassle.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see a lot of traveling to LA to get there like you will in Nashville or Vegas, or even what Cody says. Like he throws out a couple that I like. Like Dallas, I think people will travel to Dallas. He says New Orleans. I think people will travel there. He also throws Times Square and Miami. I think people will travel to Miami, but you ever been to Times Square? It's anything big, especially
That is somewhere I have not been.
like with like New Year's.
Even though I lived in New York, I've never been to New York City.
The ball drop in New Year's, I've never done it, but I heard it's just god awful with the amount of people there.
Pandemonium.
Yeah.
And plus, just travel to New York City. It like you said, it's already packed as it is. I don't know if the NFL is looking at that market and saying, oh, well, let's try to get like 600,000 people to go there.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we get it all off our chest?
Did we talk about anything we wanted to talk about?
We kind of talked Dak Prescott. We kind of talked CBA. We kind of talked a little bit of coronavirus.
Okay.
I didn't get to my first-round quarterbacks and who talks about that, but I said we could cut it.
Yeah.
I said we could cut it for time.
Yeah.
Being the great production manager as I am, I'm magnanimous, where I'm like, we don't have to talk about what I want to talk about.
Hey,
it's okay.
Ryan's right on board. He says LA won't do half as good as Nashville.
I think they'll get the numbers, but I don't think it'll have the same vibe. It won't be the same kind of... I think it'll be more of like a highbrow party than I think it'll be anything else.
Just talking about Nashville, there was one fight, and what was crazy, that we were around at
Right.
least, the crowd dispersed as these guys started fighting, and as soon as it dispersed, there was security and FBI and cops over. Like, it was so quick. It was so crazy how
But it's
quickly,
going down in L.A. is what you're saying. It's going
I
down.
don't think that people in LA are just as nice as people are in Nashville.
I think you're right.
Point at Ian when I say that, too.
Okay. Well, any other shots you want to take at Ian before we get out of here?
Love you, Ian.
Thank you, guys. This was a great show. I had a lot of fun. I know, like you said, we weren't necessarily as on task as we normally are, which is saying something because we're normally not on task at all. But I had a lot of fun. It was great talking about just everything going on in sports. Thank you for sticking with us. It was a lot of fun.
I do want to give a special shout out to everyone that commented. And if you didn't comment, that's okay too, but we appreciate you being here. Jonathan, Will, Chuck, Perry, Cody, Ryan, Juan, Justin, Ian, Nathan, Sharif, Nick. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Absolutely. Ian, we appreciate that. Flogging our t-shirts for us, man. As always, we do have t-shirts. They're on Facebook if you want to click on that. If you want to get one, he says he wears his to Steelers games out in L.A. Huge, man. You got to represent. We appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely. We will be back on Thursday, perhaps.
Thursday?
No, we are. We're planning to. Thursday.
This Thursday?
Like 2 days from now. Same time, 7:45, 6:45 Eastern. Wait, 7:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central. I'd say it every time, and I still can't get it right. We'll be back. We hope you can join us. We have some special thanks.
Already did that.
We have...
Where have you been these last 3 minutes?
I'm thirsty, dude. I'm thirsty. I'm ready to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. A lot of fun. We'll be back. I'm Jake. This is Drew. What else do you need to know? This is Sports Around the Bar. What else do you need to know?
That's it.
That's it.
See you guys.
Until next time, cheers. See, it's my new thing. It's working out. I like it.
You weren't even paying attention.